What's going on, everyone? George DiMattelis alongside Andres Cordero. It is time for Sports Burst, and I know what you're thinking. You're saying, hey, where's Gabby, all right? Well, Gabby's on a well-deserved vacation. She will be back on Monday, so you're stuck with us here on Sports Burst on our beIN Sports USA Facebook page. Dre, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Fallout from the Real Madrid situation.
Happy birthday, Real Madrid. Today's their anniversary.
And, yeah, I'm sure they didn't want to celebrate it like that, that's for sure. We're also going to talk about today's Champions League encounters. PSG will look to try and eliminate Manchester United. And, of course, Copa Libertadores. We are in the group stage. We'll touch upon those matches. Me and Dre are going to do Palestino and Internacional later on the network. So that should be big fun as well. Looking forward to seeing what happens. All right, Sports Burst starts now. All right, ladies and gentlemen out there, thank you very much for joining us. We want to hear your comments, so hit us up with the comments. This is all about Real Madrid fans, Dre.
Yes.
Venting about what happened yesterday. Barca fans, don't troll too hard, okay?
Yeah.
Just
here's
give the pain.
We're going to be a little bit critical because it deserves criticism. We're going to heap some praise on Ajax as well. But if you're a Madrid fan and today you're frustrated and you want to vent that frustration, we want to create a safe space for you. So hit us up with your comments about Real Madrid. Who's responsible? Where do you go from here? And for Real Madrid fans who respond to that, we're not going to criticize your points. We'll be critical of other things, but we're not going to criticize your ability to vent some of those frustrations. So consider this your safe space.
All right.
That said, George, there's a lot to criticize about Real Madrid's performance yesterday.
There sure is. All right, let's get. Already we're getting some comments here. Lance Pimentel, who always comes through here on Sports Burst. Thank you very much, Lance. He says, just saying this now, I'm a Madrid fan, and I call this.
Right.
This was not a shock. I think the shock is more on the scoreline than the actual fact that Real Madrid were eliminated.
I'll go one more. It's not just the scoreline. It's the way that Ajax looked insanely comfortable, embarrassingly comfortable at the Bernabeu. And so in 7 days, Real Madrid had their entire season laid out for them in 7 days. 3 consecutive home games, 2 against Barcelona, 1 against Ajax, Copa, Liga, and Champions, all goodbye. And with the season on the line, they scored 1 goal and allowed 8 at home with everything to play for. And the sad reality is Real Madrid may not have another meaningful game for almost 6 months until the start of next season because they're 12 points back of Barcelona in La Liga. They're out of the Copa. They're out of the Champions League. And the only way, and actually this is a point that the Guardian journalist Sid Lowe made on his podcast, which I think is brilliant. It's the only way that Madrid have a meaningful game between now and the end of the season is if either Barcelona and Atletico Madrid completely collapse, or Madrid themselves are so bad that they're actually fighting to remain in the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League next season.
Fighting Getafe
it doesn't bode well
for that last Champions League spot. That would be, I think that would be a bigger story than them getting eliminated from the Champions League if they're fighting Getafe for that last Champions League spot.
So here's a little history, because the last time that Madrid at this stage of the season in early March were out of the Copa, out of the Champions League, and virtually out of contention in La Liga was more than a decade ago. It was 2006 when Florentino Perez fired Vanderlei Luxemburgo after 10 games, replaced him with Lopez Caro, and at the end of that season, Florentino resigned. I don't think he's going to resign this time out, but there are some parallels because this time Lopetegui, who was hired at the start of the season, lasted only 14 games, replaced by Solari, and now the club, early March, are completely out of contention for all competitions.
And you said Vanderlei Luxemburgo, so you know that's bad.
Yeah, that's back in the day. He actually took over the previous season in a campaign in which Real Madrid had 6 different managers that year, and then ended up with Vanderlei Luxemburgo, if memory serves me. There's one other thing that just shows you how historically bad that game was for Real Madrid yesterday, and so how historically bad this season has been for Madrid is they've already lost 6 games by 3 goals or more. 6 times this season, Madrid have lost by 3 or more goals. Twice against Barcelona, once against Sevilla, Eibar, CSKA Moscow in the Champions League, in what was a meaningless game. They were already through in the group stages, and then yesterday against Ajax with the Champions League on the line, and them coming into it with an advantage. That hadn't happened where they lost 6 matches in a single season by 3 goals or more since 1951.
That's when our grandparents were teenagers.
Yeah, that's pre-Di Stefano for Real Madrid. So it's been an historically poor campaign, and it's a legitimate question. Where do they go from here? Are they going fishing for the next 3 months of the season? Add to that the fact that Vinicius was injured. But what bothers me
Bale got injured. I think Lucas Vazquez got injured. Yeah.
What bothers me a bit is that there was an air of arrogance about Madrid to this entire process, starting with Sergio Ramos getting himself sent off and then saying the quiet part out loud to then get an additional game ban, as if the tie had been settled with their slim advantage in the first leg when they were outplayed in that first half massively by Ajax. And maybe this is closer to the result that Ajax should have had in the first leg than in the second. So the idea that Madrid weren't going to need their talismanic captain, that he could just sit this one out so that he wouldn't serve a suspension in a meaningful final match game afterwards, I thought was disrespectful to Ajax and probably fed them a bit.
Absolutely. And for some people out there who say VAR assisted Real Madrid, VAR against Real Madrid.
See, but to that point, I'm so happy that there were more goals after that VAR decision where the ball it looked as though it might have crossed the line, maybe it didn't cross the line, because I thought it was the direct decision by VAR, and that doesn't mean that the ball did or did not cross the line. But if it's inconclusive and it was given a certain way, then you can't change it via VAR. Absolutely. And I was dreading the idea that was going to be the deciding factor, and we were going to be here talking exclusively about VAR for the remaining of the week. So that's the end of our VAR talk for this.
Let's get to some of these comments here. Andrew Contura says, guys, the inevitable happened. Madrid till I die, but the way we went out was embarrassing on our part. That is very true. Let's see some of the other comments. Amrender Bhatti, congratulations to Real Madrid. Ramos' suspension is reduced to 1 game by Ajax.
I don't think so. I think he still has to serve out suspension at the start of next season in the Champions League group stage.
You're going to miss out on that. Well, if they get to the group stage, we'll see what happens in La Liga. I think they will, but it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Christian J. Pineda says, guys, come on. Please tell me you don't see this coming. You didn't see this coming for the last 2 years. They really have been helped by the refs in every Champions League game the last 2 seasons. Okay.
So it's true that this was not totally out of the blue, right? Because yes, they won the 3rd consecutive Champions League last season, and then their manager Zidane leaves and Cristiano Ronaldo follows them out the door. And so a lot of this was foreseeable in the way that Madrid had played. They fired their manager for a reason 14 games into the campaign. Things weren't working out under Lopetegui, and they finished a distant 3rd last season, right? Distant in regards to Barcelona top of the table, double-digit points behind Barca in 3rd place a season ago. So yeah, it wasn't completely unpredictable, but the way it happened, how comfortable Ajax was, the way some Madrid fans, the way some sections of Madrid media celebrated the fact that they drew Ajax in this knockout stage. They
so
weren't
disrespectful to Ajax.
Yeah, they weren't in a good moment when the Champions League draw came about, and they felt Ajax was a breath of fresh air. Oh, we got Ajax, we're through to the next stage. And that attitude held right up until after the first leg when you have Sergio Ramos forcing the yellow card for the automatic suspension. I'm flabbergasted.
No, I always felt that it was disrespectful for any team to say, oh, we got lucky because we got this team in the draw of the Champions League. I always felt that was very disrespectful. And, well, you pay for the disrespect there, Real Madrid fans. All right. Agbemavor God King. That's definitely not your real last name. Okay. Leave Madrid. Well, maybe it is. Okay, you never know. There was a god, Sham God, who was a basketball player back in the day. Leave Madrid alone because these things happen. Yes, but not like that.
And not to Real Madrid.
And especially not to Real Madrid.
It's a safe space for people who want to vent about Real Madrid. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. For sure. Yeah. Radu Marinescu, Real Madrid's season was doomed from the beginning. They replaced the loss of CR7 by signing Courtois. That's an interesting point there. Yeah, interesting point. And we'll see Sanchez Alexander, make sure I say the name right. Madrid can enjoy watching all competitions on TV. I'm sure Ramos would love that. Maybe not.
The chat has jokes today.
Yeah. Got some jokes there, yeah. And then Pato Inge says, did I say that right? Pato Inge or NJ? De Jong was playing in his future training ground.
He was absolutely brilliant, by the way. Yeah, he was also he was a little bit banged up for the first leg. He wasn't 100% fit, even though he did play, and you can tell that he wasn't at his absolute best. Yesterday he was unplayable. Him and Tadic. In fact, Tadic was incredible. The roulette leading up to the Neres goal was just absolutely gorgeous, and that's where I just thought they looked so comfortable at the Bernabeu. Madrid looked like a team that's beaten. It looked like a team that is sleepwalking, and. We talked about the injuries. Obviously, Vinicius is going to be out for close to 2 months with a reported high ankle sprain. They're going to do some tests today to determine the exact extent of the injury, but it's not as if they have anything immediate to play for, which I shouldn't say that because I'm actually on the call for Valladolid Real Madrid on Sunday. so it's a huge game, and watch us watch the rest of the Real Madrid season.
And the part is, real quick, Vinicius has really been the only player that's shown any kind of energy or inspiration since he's been a regular starter on the team.
Even with the lack of goals, he's been an inspiration for them.
Yeah.
And maybe this hurts his chances of making an impact for Brazil in the summer in the Copa America. Remains to be seen whether he'll even get a call-up, how much time he'll actually get to get back to his best before that happens. And it's a shame because we've been watching this, still a kid practically, just sort of rise meteorically and do so as a starter for Real Madrid. And it's actually been a lot of fun to watch. All of that said, there's one other sort of image problem for Real Madrid, and that is that their captain, who forced that yellow card, who was sitting in the luxury boxes during the game, wasn't just sitting there quietly during the match. He was filming a documentary about himself while his team were crashing out spectacularly. While Santiago Bernabeu is catching fire, he's up there recording a documentary. Granted, that was probably planned ahead of time. It's not the reason that Real Madrid lose, but it's a horrendous look for Madrid.
Absolutely. One more comment here about Real Madrid before we move on to the Champions League fixtures for today. Lance Pimentel, I'm going to shout him out again. Sold Pepe, James, Kovacic, Morata, and Ronaldo. What did we expect?
Pepe.
Yeah, that's a couple of years ago. Yeah, for sure.
Well, so the other thing, before we move on to today's Champions League, which is actually a really big match between PSG and Manchester United, Paris have an advantage, obviously. The one last thing is Lopetegui. Lopetegui's long gone. Solari sounds or seems like sort of dead man walking, right? Because there's very little reason to think that, even though he signed an extension earlier in the season, that he's going to be brought back next year. And so then the question is, one, does he finish out this campaign? And two, who replaces him on an interim, on a permanent basis at the end of next season? And obviously, the first place people went is to Jose Mourinho, because Mourinho has been making kissy faces at Real Madrid. We know Florentino Perez likes him and probably wouldn't be opposed to bringing him back, but there might be other forces at the club that think otherwise. There's some other interesting names in the conversation. Jurgen Klopp, though there's a question as to whether he'd want to leave Liverpool. Mauricio Pochettino, he's been making some noises about sort of what the ambitions of Spurs are, and clearly if he wants bigger ambition, there are a few teams more ambitious than Real Madrid.
Although Tottenham did get past Dortmund, so they're on to the quarterfinals, so you have to give him credit for that. So maybe that might sway his mentality a little bit.
My favorite rumor, which was one that actually was prompted by Luciano Moggi in Italian radio, is the thought of Allegri leaving Juve, signing for Real Madrid next season, and Zidane, former Real Madrid manager, going back to Juve, which actually would make a lot of sense for Juve because and for Zidane, I think outside of Real Madrid, the club that Zidane is most suited to take over at the moment would be Juve, where you don't have to have a restoration project. The team is already built. Cristiano Ronaldo is already there. He's got incredible clout at that club, and that club has a good winning culture that I think would facilitate his stay there.
If Allegri does not win the Champions League with Juve this year, and I predicted they'd get a treble, if they don't, I think he's gone. And I think Zidane will take over for him. So we'll see what happens there. All right, PSG versus Manchester United. PSG up 2-0 after the first leg at Old Trafford. Second leg in La France, in the French capital.
What's that mean?
La France, that's French.
Oh.
That's France.
Oh.
And that's how they say it in France.
In the old country.
In the old country. Yes, in the home of Charlemagne and all of them guys. All right. What should we expect from this second leg? Because United, I believe Pogba's out.
Yes.
He's suspended for this game. And even though United have played well since that loss at home, leading up to this game, PSG still, they have that 2-0 advantage, and Mbappe right now is on fire. He's playing spectacular football.
Yeah, so it's not as if PSG need any alarm bells to go off to know that nothing is decided until the second leg is finalized. We saw how they crashed out against Barcelona a couple of seasons back. Yep. But yesterday's game will have raised an eyebrow or two at Paris to think, okay, we need to be on our best at home against this United side to get through with a 2-goal advantage. But United are not Ajax at the moment. In fact, Ajax are a better side, and United are missing 8 players through injury. Plus, you mentioned Paul Pogba, who was sent off in the first leg, so he'll be absent as well. They're starting something called a Diogo Dalot, who's played 10 games for United this season.
I like that as something.
Yeah, it's a 19-year-old ex-Porto kid who should be starting today. Andreas Pereira will start as well. So it's something of an alternate kind of United, down 2-0 away at PSG, where Paris at the Parc des Princes this season have been unbeatable. They're undefeated in Ligue 1 at home, virtually unplayable on home turf. Yeah, they're missing Cavani. Yes, they're missing Neymar, but Kylian Mbappe is an absolute killer. Di Maria has been on a tear of late. It's still going to be a very, very strong PSG side, and I see no other result here but a PSG win.
Yeah, Pato agrees with you there. He says PSG is going to win it 5-0.
I don't know what the scoreline is going to be. And actually, to be fair, they've struggled a bit to score goals lately, even against lesser opposition. It's taken a while against Caen. I think it was until like the 60th minute for Kylian Mbappe to break the deadlock for them to get the first goal. So it's not as if they're blowing teams out of the water right now, but they're so talented and so good defensively, especially. Marquinhos in midfield has been just a breath of fresh air for them. It's something Tuchel had been working on all season. Marquinhos, who's a center back, has been working as a defensive midfielder and did it brilliantly at Old Trafford in the first leg. He'll probably line up alongside Verratti. And I just think we talk so much about how good PSG are because of the talent on display, because of the attacking talent that they have. But defensively, they have been phenomenal. One of the strongest teams defensively in European football.
And that's credit to Thomas Tuchel. He's figured out that, okay, without Neymar and Cavani, might have to be a little more defensive-minded to keep their team in the Champions League. Take a look here. Nelly Cogg says, tough fight for United. Go Young Stars. Also, Boy Bakao Lee. The kings of comebacks, Man U, let's do this. Ole. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And then Sanchez Alexander says, PSG will not win the Champions League. Okay. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Yeah. You never know what could happen.
Take the field.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to take the field. Yeah. So we'll see. But that should be very interesting to see what happens in PSG.
So who are the major favorites right now, right? I include PSG among the major favorites. I mean, Paris, Juve.
Well, I was going to say Juve until they lost the first leg 2-0 to Atleti, and then that I think their chances took a little bit of a hit there.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we'll see. I still think Juve is going to win it, man. I think they'll turn it around in that second leg. But we'll see if United actually turn it around against Paris. Okay, talk a little Copa Libertadores.
Sure.
Because obviously beIN Sports, the home of the Libertadores, we have the game between Palestino and Internacional, but Alianza Lima versus River Plate, they are the reigning champions, but they did lose Pity Martinez now, I believe, in Atlanta United.
Yep.
What about them? I think they can. You think they? It's hard to repeat.
Big picture. I just want to highlight how absurd and wonderful the Copa Libertadores is because, for example, Leonel Alvarez at the helm of Libertad, Paraguayan club Libertad, they go through the qualifying stages, they make it into the group stage, they win in a rout on opening day, and the manager Leonel Alvarez resigns immediately after. It's incredible. They knocked off Atlético Nacional, which was an impressive feat in the qualifying stages, right? And then after winning bigly in the first group stage match, he says, I'm good, I'm out. Very Marcelo Bielsa-esque. Apparently he didn't get along with the board, the front office staff.
Good old.
Some questions.
That's some good old Libertadores stuff right there. Yeah. Yesterday, the game we did, what was it? Nestor Clausen.
Yeah.
Didn't he was supposed to, like, San Jose manager had
some
issues with the board.
Yeah, that's Bolivian Club San Jose. They were back in the Libertadores after 4 years out. They had won the Clausura, and the president of the club told them yesterday, if you win, we'll negotiate. If you lose or draw, we're making a change.
And they lost to Flamengo, so, Gonzalo Rivas. Hey guys, can I get a shout out? It's my birthday. Hashtag I love you guys.
Happy
Gonzalo,
birthday.
Happy birthday. How old are you?
You share a birthday with Real Madrid. Congratulations.
Yeah. Just don't go the same route as they did. Pato, if Atletico scores you 2 goals, you're dead.
Yes, he's not wrong.
That's true.
Although Atleti are a different team now with Alvaro Morata. Honestly, I think he's a perfect fit for them.
Yeah, looking forward. That should be a great game as well. Who else? Promo Copa League games. That's what
you know why? It's because our Colombian producer is sitting there. She's like, talk about the one who said Vamos Junior.
Oh, Vamos Junior. Jorge Wolf Hurtado, still the best name of all the guys that come in and chime in on there. He says, Copa Libertadores tonight, and my team is playing Vamos Junior. But Jorge, you're supposed to say Junior tu Papa.
He got it later.
You got it later? Okay, you got it later? Okay, hashtag Junior tu Papa. Vamos Tiburones. I can't say that last part.
Do join us at 5 p.m. Eastern. George and I are on the call for Palestino against Internacional of Porto Alegre. That should be fun.
Kevin and Ray will be doing the Alianza Lima River. And you can see Junior and Palmeiras on beIN Sports Connect as well. Right. That's a big game. You're talking about the current Colombian champions against the reigning Brazilian champions in that group of death with, I think, San Lorenzo and Melgar. So Jorge Wolf Hurtado says Junior will beat Palmeiras 1-0 tonight. Okay. Let's see. That's
totally unbiased opinion.
Yeah, Jorge Wolf. Are you sure?
Is it in Barranquilla today?
Yeah, I think it's in Sao Paulo. I think that game is in Sao Paulo.
I think it's in Colombia.
It's in Colombia?
It might be, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. So that does it for Sports Burst. Thank you very much for watching, and keep it locked to beIN Sports for more Libertadores action. Take care, everyone.